are you doing? I am so sorry that we're getting started so late today, and I'm also sorry that I'm, I guess, streaming this on Facebook. We had some technical issues with Zoom. It will not let me start that meeting, no matter how much I'm trying to start that Zoom meeting today for the detox. So I defaulted and decided to jump over here. Facebook will record this for us. It'll still be right here in the stream, and then I'll just have to figure out how to download it and get it into our teachable material, and make sure that it's available for you guys. Make sure it's available for you guys otherwise. So the hard thing is I wanted to share a screen with you guys today, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that. So the cool thing is I'm just going to chat with you guys today about intermittent fasting. First of all, welcome to week 2 of our Epic 5 Detox, Metabolic Detoxification Diet. I am, of course, Dr. Jason Bradley, the founder of Epic Functional Medicine Center and the creator and developer of the Epic 5 plan, which this metabolic detoxification diet is based on. And our book coming out, of course, a little later this year in the spring, which will also be called the Epic 5 plan, which will dive a little bit more deeply, not only into what we're chatting about, but to the entire Epic 5 plan: hydration, how to eat, how to move, how to manage stress, and how to sleep. So again, guys, we're just going to jump right into intermittent fasting today. And I hope that you guys are doing well. I've gotten some really good feedback from you guys. I love the recipes that you guys are sharing. I love all of it. If anybody has any questions as we're going through this, to make this kind of a live and interactive event, a little different than Zoom, but kind of the same as well, just write it in the comments. I have my comment field open, and if I can figure out how to share my screen, I'm going to share my screen. So again, we're just going to jump right in. Intermittent fasting. This comes up a lot in a couple of different ways. Some people, when they start working with us as private clients, or if they start doing a metabolic detox with us, they're already intermittent fasting. And they're all, they already have this thing that they're doing. Other people have heard about it and want to know more about it. Other people have never heard about it, and then somebody posts something about it, and then all of a sudden they have 1,000 questions about it. So, I want to cover, what is intermittent fasting? I want to cover, is it a good strategy? Is it a good tool? Who should be doing it? Who should not be doing it? And what the heck is it? What are the benefits? What are the risks? And I want to cover all of that today. I had 45 minutes to an hour set aside, but because we got set back a little bit with the technical issue with Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and try to keep this to about 30 minutes so that we could still fit it into the lunch hour between 12 and noon and 1. And then, excuse me, guys, I got the hiccups today. And then we will kind of take it a little bit further if we need. But at any rate, what the heck is intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is basically not much different than something that we already do, at least most of us, every single day. Intermittent fasting is that we fast for a period of the day and then we eat for a period of the day. We're already doing that mostly with our construction, and we even have a word for it that you guys are very aware of, and it's called breakfast, right? If we take that word breakfast, it's break fast. We're breaking the fast. And what's the fast that we're breaking? We're breaking an overnight fast. So again, we already have this idea of fasting built into our day-to-day schedule. We don't, eat every hour, 24 hours a day. We take a break from eating, and that's all the intermittent fasting is. It's a structured way to take a break from eating. I'm fascinated with fasting as a tool to help restore health. I have a lecture that I'm going to be doing here coming up called, supposed to be last weekend, but with the weather, it got postponed like everything else. But it's called Fasting Your Way to Vitality, a deep dive into intermittent fasting. And I think that we'll be able to share a lot of information there. But intermittent fasting, again, is just a structured way to eat. Some times that you do eat and some times that you don't eat. A lot of people want to know, well, I read online that the only way to do intermittent fasting is, and then you fill in the blank here. The most common thing that we hear is to eat for 8 hours a day and fast for 16 hours a day. I would say that's the most common way that people do it. And I'm just going to randomly pull numbers out of the air here. That would mean that, for the average person that works a regular shift, we would see them, fasting until, and again, it doesn't have to be this way, but until, let's just say 11 a.m. And then their eating period would be from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. But that would mean from 7 p.m. again until 11 a.m. the next day, they are fasting. What does fasting mean? It means only consuming water, copious amounts of water. Again, how much water? Well, in a 24-hour period, for most women, we want 100 ounces. For most men, we want about a gallon. And again, or half your body weight in ounces, whichever is more, right? Nonetheless, that's just a general statement that might not apply to everybody. But nonetheless, I would say 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. is a pretty doable thing for most people. What that would mean is in the morning, you're basically skipping breakfast, right? I mean, that's what you're doing, and just drinking a lot of water. People want to know, can I drink black tea? Can I drink black coffee? What about herbal teas? What about these things? I will say this, as long as there's no calories, I'm okay with it, right? So again, black tea, black coffee, some of the herbal teas are going to be calorie-free. What we want is to deprive your body of calories and make it go into itself looking for energy. And this helps with a lot of different things that we're going to cover here in a minute. But nonetheless, we want to keep that period basically about 8 hours a day for most people, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So again, that keeps us from eating too late. You never want to eat too late. If we eat too late, it can cause a whole bunch of issues like, eating right before bed can cause reflux. Certainly eating right before you go to bed can cause indigestion. Certainly can cause tummy rumbling, keep you up at night, so some insomnias. Certainly put some stress on the liver and the digestive tract. Instead of being able to repair itself and heal itself and work through toxins, the body is now working through the food that you just ate at 10:30 at night or 11 at night. So the goal is, again, don't eat too late. And I like that 11 to 7 period. However, that might be a jump for a lot of people. And so a lot of people will start with 12, and we would call what we just talked about a 16-8 program. So like 16:8. So if you hear people talking about a 16-8 intermittent fasting or IF, 16-8 IF, you'll know that they're fasting for 16 hours a day, eating or eating window of 8 hours a day, and then IF stands for intermittent fasting. But some people will do a 12-12 IF, meaning that maybe they're going to eat from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that is actually one of the ways that we started with you guys, right? On this detox for that first, few days. If you've been following along with the teaching material, we had some structure built in there where we actually had you guys eating a little bit of breakfast in the morning, on-plan breakfast, of course, but then moving to liquids as the weeks went on, right? And breaking our fast with that Epic Green smoothie. So again, we kind of ease people into this, and I will say that with our private clients, typically we ease them into a 16-8 program. There are some other people that do what's called a 24. They're fasting for 20 hours a day, and their eating window is 4 hours a day. Again, maybe 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And again, it just depends on your metabolic needs. That would be an advanced intermittent fasting. We do use that with folks that have, we have a lot of different folks with a lot of different body sizes and shapes. But I would say, our very overweight crowd, our very, obese crowd, so to speak, those folks that are struggling with weight loss resistance, a 24 window, so 20 hours of fasting and 4-hour window of eating can be a boon to their metabolism because your body is hungry. And during that fasting period, it will go looking for calories in your body, and stored body fat, right? Body fat is stored calories. So it'll start burning that body fat for fuel. And when we get into that rhythm of burning body fat for fuel, eventually we get into a state of mild ketosis or keto adaptation. I'm not promoting a ketogenic diet. That's a totally fat-based diet where 80% of the calories are coming from fats. You guys know that we are a plant-based group. We want, eat real foods, mostly plants and not too much, right? But nonetheless, when you get into the state where your body is actively searching for body fat for fuel and actively breaking it down for energy, and you're losing weight at that point, when we check the body out, we start to see these things called ketones in the system. Ketones, again, being a sign that we're burning body fat for fuel. You don't want too many, but if you have a trace amount or a little amount, it means that we are burning body fat, which is great. So for people that feel like they're not losing weight or it's coming off slowly, that's a great way to test that and see if you are burning body fat for fuel. You can pick up those strips. They're just urine strips. It's an easy thing to check. You can pick those up at Amazon. I also like the breath meters. There's about I don't know if it's $40 or so, but there's a ketone breath meter. I think it's at Keto HC, like Keto Healthcare, but ketohc.com. I do not have a coupon code for you guys. As you know, I try to get you guys discounts. They say that it's discounted as low as it will go. They can't give us another discount. I have one. I love it. What I love about it is that you don't need to buy strips. You're not poking your finger with blood. You don't have to pee. You literally just, it's like a breathalyzer. You just blow into it and it tells you whether or not you're in ketosis and how deeply you are. So it's an easy thing to use. Again, ketohc.com. But again, that's the basics of intermittent fasting. The basic principle is we want your metabolism for most people, not underweight people, but for most people to be in a keto adaptive state. This is a great way to get you there. Meaning that you're producing small amounts of ketones. We want your body burning body fat for fuel and producing energy. And we want your brain able to use not just sugars and carbs and starches as a fuel, but we also want your brain able to use different types of fats for fuels as well. And again, this is a great way to get there. Again, so intermittent fasting, those numbers that you see, whether it's 24 or 16-8 or 12-12 or any combination thereof, what we're talking about is the fasting period and the hours of eating. Most people, again, 11 to 7 is the eating window. Most of my clients, my private clients, I say break the fast or breakfast, break the fast at 11 o'clock with your daily green drink, your daily green Epic smoothie. Break it with that. And again, if you're hungry around 2, have a plant-based, protein-rich, fat-rich meal. Stay away from the carbs, the starches, the sugars, etc. Have a regular, on-plan dinner around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, but no later than 7 o'clock. And then after 7 o'clock until 11 a.m. the next day, just chug that water, Wake up in the morning and chug that water. My clients hear me say things like, drink it like you mean it. Drink water in the morning like you're severely dehydrated and you're an animal, drinking out of a trough. And I'm teasing a little bit. Drink it like you mean it. Animals don't just go over and sip water. They go over and gulp that water down. And that's, guys, you need to do that in the morning because your body is dehydrated from being, sleeping all night and not drinking water. And, if you're like me, your mouth hanging open and breathing, and losing a lot of fluids that way. I'm sure that was attractive. But nonetheless, drink it like you mean it. Hydrate in the morning, hydrate throughout the day. Keep your eating window from 11 to 7 if you're going to do intermittent fasting. But again, you can also ease into that. And again, on the Teachable, epic5.teachable.com, we have that complete 21-day plan, day 1, day 2, day 3, etc. To kind of walk you guys through that. And you're welcome to have access to that. You don't need access to it to do this detox. I'm trying to share with you as much as I can in the time that we have available. There's way too much to share with you than the time we have available. So let's just jump in. I wish I was a little bit smarter on how to share my screen with you guys. And I don't know, I'm just gonna kind of look here and see if there's a button I can push, but I don't see that there is. So I'm just gonna share with you guys directly from our Teachable. I wish that I could do that though, man. I had that cool thing planned for us, but that's okay. Let me just log into the Epic 5 Teachable real fast. And I know this is captivating. Yeah, I know this is captivating to watch me do this. I also have heard, I've also heard that when I'm logging into things, sometimes I make funny faces. So I don't know if that's true. Probably is. Awesome. So let me get to my courses. All right. So if you're in Teachable, guys, you would go to, again, well, darn it, I got kicked out. You would go down to the Metabolic Detoxification diet. I'm not sure which boy, this is driving me nuts. Hold on one second. Let me log in the back door. It's trying to tell me that I need to register, that I'm not my own student. So let me just go into the admin area and I'll be fine there. Slowly but surely. I promise you this is going to be captivating. There's some cool stuff I want to share with you guys. Okay, here we are. I'm back now. So again, you would go to the Epic 5 Metabolic Detoxification module. In that module, again, we're going to go down to section, boy, there's so many sections here. It's actually under resources. So technically that'd be like section 6. And then all the way down, with the resources, down at the very bottom, I uploaded a document today called the 12 Possible Health Benefits of Intermittent Fasting. And I just want to go through this with you guys because I'm fascinated by this. Of course, the main reason that people do intermittent fasting again and couple it with the detox is for weight loss. And I don't know if you guys can see my screen or if you're seeing me talk, but anyway, nonetheless, if you can see it, great. If not, it's in Teachable, and I'll try to figure out how to post this so it's a little bit more interactive. But nonetheless, the main reason that people do intermittent fasting, and actually the main reason, unfortunately, that people do a detox is to lose weight. I would recommend these as health strategies that can serve you right now, but also serve you for years and years and years to come. It's the same reason that we repeat some type of detox with the doc, with the Epic team, at the beginning of each quarter. Here we are in January in the first quarter, but we'll be doing something like this in April, something like this in October. In July, something like this in October. And then generally I do something like a modified version in between the holidays. My goal is to have my clients not gain any weight between the holidays. Average American gains 5 to 10 pounds, sometimes even more. So what I love about this article that we put out there is that it's well referenced. And, again, we talked about weight loss, and intermittent fasting has been studied for a very long time. And, all the way back in 2015, so about 4 or 5 years ago, in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, they looked at people that were just, trying to eat a healthy diet versus people that were eating a healthy diet plus intermittent fasting. And of course, the people that did the intermittent fasting lost quite a bit more weight, as a matter of fact. I think that it was actually almost 8% more over just a 2-week trial. So, I mean, it wasn't even a long trial. So I thought that was pretty cool, that in just 2 weeks, everybody lost, not everybody, but in the study, most people lost weight, but the intermittent fasting group showed almost a 10% increase in weight loss. And again, for people that need to lose weight, intermittent fasting is a great thing to do. But what I really liked when I was researching this is a couple of years ago, I was going to say last year in 2018, but in 2018, and again in 2019, the Nutrition of Healthy Aging, the Journal Nutrition and Healthy Aging, the Journal Nutrients, and the European Journal of Nutrition all found that both systolic and diastolic blood pressure were reduced pretty significantly. And again, even greater reductions in diastolic blood pressure than systolic blood pressure. So that bottom number came down. What that means, guys, or what it implies anyway, is that intermittent fasting may be a strategy to help lower blood pressure, right? Of course, when we lower blood pressure, we're taking stress off the cardiac tree. When we take stress off the cardiac tree, we are also reducing our risk of cardiac events, which is a nice way of saying a stroke or a heart attack. So again, well published in 3 well-respected journals there throughout 2018 and 2019, which is pretty cool. A study in the Journal of Nutrition Research, and I think that this was in 2017, showed that overall inflammation, when we look at that in laboratory markers, inflammation comes down during a period of intermittent fasting. So again, that's probably also related to the decreased cardiac risks, because we all know that the number one cause of cardiac strokes, heart attacks, etc., is too much insulin in the body. Too much insulin driven by too many starches, carbs, sugars, etc. And inflammation is also driven by insulin. So there's a lot going on there, with inflammation that's probably related to that cardiac tree. Jumping over to the very well-respected journal Obesity, last year, they said that cholesterol comes down during intermittent fasting. And again, of course it does, because the body will increase cholesterol naturally in an inflamed state. Cholesterol has been vilified into this very yucky thing. But the reality is cholesterol is an anti-inflammatory molecule in our body. So when we go out of our way to artificially reduce it with, statin drugs and et cetera, really what we're doing is decreasing one of the body's main defense mechanisms against inflammation. We haven't done anything for the inflammation with the statin drug, but we've reduced the cholesterol. What happens is, guys, again, we eat sugars, starches, carbs. It increases insulin. Insulin is highly inflammatory. Again, as we talked about, to the body. We've all had like a cut, on our skin, and it gets very inflamed. That inflammation causes dryness, right? We've all had that before. We've had something really inflamed and it gets dry. Well, that same thing happens to your arteries. The arteries start to dry up a little bit and they crack and they fissure. And those little cracks and fissures, the body thinks, I can't have, Johnny stroking or bleeding out right now. So what I'm going to do is increase cholesterol, which will be naturally anti-inflammatory, and I'm going to patch those nicks or those lesions in the arteries so that Johnny doesn't bleed out. And then pretty soon, of course, if we don't take care of the inflammation, cholesterol is sticky, starts to stick to itself, guys, and that's how cholesterol can clog an artery. It's not that cholesterol is the bad guy, guys. It's diet, 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 diet. All the time it's diet. Anybody telling you anything else is trying to sell you a drug, I'm telling you, or a supplement. Diet is the key to all of this as far as what we're talking about right now. Keeping with the theme of cardiovascular implications, there are better outcomes for stroke survivors. So people that survive a stroke, we found in, and I love the name of this journal, Experimental and Translational Stroke Medicine. I love this, that basically people that do intermittent fasting after a stroke, let's prevent the stroke to begin with, have a much higher, almost a twofold chance of having a better outcome, a better recovery. And again, probably because we are reducing inflammation, and the brain can work better when it's not so inflamed, which is pretty cool. And again, speaking of the brain, boy, it's almost like I wrote this in order. We see increased brain function. In February of 2018, a journal called Experimental Biology and Medicine found that intermittent fasting protects against the decline in memory that comes with age. I don't like the way they worded that. We don't have to have a decline in memory with age. I know that we talk about, cognitive decline, senility, Alzheimer's, all of that stuff, guys. But the reality is, even according to Johns Hopkins, the reality is if we structure diet the right way and we're feeding our bodies the right way, again, intermittent fasting being one of these strategies that we can implement along with a healthy diet like the Epic 5 plan, we're going to see boosted brain function, which is pretty cool. I have seen people personally with my private clients that had a massive cognitive decline when we switched their diets, got them intermittent fasting, and then certainly supported them with nutrients and got their hormones and everything balanced out. We've seen their cognition improve, their brain function return, which is pretty awesome to see. And especially when people think that they've lost mom or dad to that decline, and then all of a sudden mom and dad are back, which is just awesome, or grandma and grandpa. We saw through the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, which is, the most, in my opinion, esteemed nutritional medical journal on the planet. That could be argued by my colleagues, and please do. But we have seen cancer risks reducing, as published. And again, also cancer survival rates improving. I can anecdotally tell you some things like this. Folks that have, that do unfortunately develop cancer, my own father is one of these people, and I've had a number of clients that have come to us with active cancers that ended up surviving, which is great. Even my father with terminal brain cancer. This is what I can tell you about cancer. Cancer lives on sugar. I'll say it again. Cancer lives on sugar. Cancer cells are not that smart. They are just looking for sugar. So when you put yourself into a keto adaptive state, like with intermittent fasting, and then follow it up with a very low glycemic diet that's focusing on plants and greens, and like we've talked about, and healthy proteins, healthy fats, berries as the sweet because they're low in sugar, getting acids into the body like lime juice, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar. When we focus on that diet and combine it with intermittent fasting, there's not a lot of sugar for the cancer cells to eat. So they go into a state of what's called autophagy. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Autophagy, meaning self-eat. Phagy, Phagy, meaning eating, and then auto meaning self. So it's self-eating. And we want those cancer cells to go into autophagy so that they are self-consuming and basically destroying themselves. They will do that if your body is going into let's burn a body fat for fuel state in that intermittent fasting. Your cancer cells are doing it too. They start eating themselves, which is pretty cool. And in fact, taking that a bit further, chemotherapeutic drugs, and I don't want to argue whether or not people should use chemotherapy, but let's just say somebody's using chemotherapy. Chemotherapeutic drugs are actually pretty well designed. They are drugs that stimulate that autophagy, right, that we just talked about, but they are attached to a sugar molecule. right? So when we give people chemotherapy, those cancer cells are like, oh yeah, I want that sugar, and it ends up eating that drug, and it manipulates that cancer cell to die off, which is pretty awesome, pretty well thought out. Now, should everybody be doing that? I'm not going to say that. There's a whole discussion there. There's a time and a place for everything, and I've never had cancer personally, so I don't know what I would do. I always say, I'd at least have surgery probably, but I hope I never face that decision. And I don't want any of my clients to face that decision. And we do everything we can to protect ourselves against cancer. So again, intermittent fasting could be used during the chemotherapy state. I've had patients of mine survive cancer by fasting, for like literally fasting, nothing but water for 7 days during chemotherapy. And they survived, the cancers. Did they survive because of the fasting? I don't know, but the chemotherapy worked, and it worked very, very well. And again, that's a discussion to have with your oncologist, for sure. If you're my private client, we can certainly chat about that, and I hope we never need to. But cancer protection, again, I probably beat that dead horse just a little bit. So coming back to last year, a couple articles looking at that journal Nutrients and a new journal called Autophagy, which we just chatted about. We found out that there's increased cellular turnover. So dead cells die, or dying cells die more quickly, and new cells are born and develop more quickly, just with intermittent fasting again. So that's pretty cool. And in fact, they're looking at something, stimulating something called mTOR, M-T-O-R. And this is just a shout out to my good friend and genetics researcher, longevity scientist, James William Clement. If you haven't picked up his New York Times bestseller called The Switch that just came out late last year, you absolutely should. It was featured, it's been featured everywhere. Where hasn't it been featured? But James talks about the switch of turning on and off the genes, basically turning on the good genes, turning off the bad genes, and fasting is one of the things that he talks about. I don't have the book next to me. One of my mentors, one of my good personal friends and mentors, Dr. Dennis Wilson of thyroid fame, that cracked the code on T3 therapy, that has only person I know personally that has a disease named after him called Wilson syndrome, that trained me in my thyroid training. He just wrote a book called Fastercise, which is combining exercise and fasting periods. And I'm reviewing that book. I'm actually deep in its read right now, and I can't wait to publish my review. And I loved Dr. Wilson. But fasting, guys, and intermittent fasting is really coming to fruition now and kind of coming into popular culture. Of course, we've talked about this 1,000 times. When we are fasting and we're not eating food, we're not going to be releasing insulin. Insulin, again, is very inflammatory and related to all the stuff that we talked about. But when we don't release insulin, our cells are looking for insulin, so they become more insulin sensitive, right? So intermittent fasting in the journal last year, in the Journal of Nutrients in April, and then also in the Journal Nutrition and Healthy Aging, intermittent fasting and fasting in general, but intermittent fasting was shown to, quote, reduce insulin resistance. Again, guys, insulin resistance is the pre-diabetic state and actually perpetuates diabetes, right? Eventually, the insulin will burn out. The pancreatic beta cells will burn out. We won't make enough insulin. And that's when we turn from non-insulin dependent diabetes to insulin dependent diabetes. Guys, you have complete control over that. I have hiccups today. Complete control over that just by doing some intermittent fasting or some fasting periods and keeping your diet, again, to that EPIC 5 plan. And again, that was a 16-8 approach looking at type 2 diabetics. Again, in the journal Nutrients, a couple of times last year, again, taking a look at cardiometabolic patients and seeing them completely turn around. So blood pressure coming down, blood sugar coming down, body weight coming down, cholesterol coming down, that cardiometabolic state that almost every American suffers from. I looked for, and I didn't find, but I predict that if we looked at intermittent fasting and the new American plague, which I can't stand, NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which we're seeing in children now, I have a feeling that if we started looking at NAFLD and intermittent fasting over a longer period of time, we'd probably see NAFLD reversing. Again, kind of coming back to James Clement and his longevity studies, a study last year in June in Current Obesity Reports said that people live longer and healthier by implementing long-term strategic intermittent fasting, again, a 16-8 approach. And then last but not least, in Nature and the Science of Sleep in late 2018 in December, they said that people sleep better. They get a better quality of sleep. They wake up feeling more refreshed. And there's, a million reasons for that. Again, some of it just because, maybe we aren't eating late at night and we're not digesting and our stomach's not rumbling and, liver's able to detox and all that kind of stuff. But again, there's a lot going on there. Let's see, there's a whole lot going on there that, again, the literature is helping show us that intermittent fasting can help. So we had some questions. And I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't have that other screen open and read through that teachable document and have this open. So Jody, I'm going to answer your question. Jody said, is intermittent fasting once per 24 hours? I try to do 2 to 3 meals a day with 5 hours between, no snacks, no eating after 6:30 p.m., breakfast at 7 a.m. Not intending to intermittent fast, but if I'm close, I might as well adjust and go all in. So this is a great question. Intermittent fasting is what you want it to be. But again, typically it's in a 24-hour period. I can't get my hands right. Every 24-hour period, we would stop eating at 7 p.m. and not eat anything. Let me do that again. Stop eating at 7 p.m. and not eat anything until 11 a.m. The next day. And then from 11 to 7, you would just try to eat healthy food. That's the most basic way to do it. There are some other ideas out there. Dr. Walter Longo out in California, he is the expert in what we're talking about. Walter Longo, MD, PhD. He actually takes people in-house, inpatient, and he has a private clinic and where he does research funded by the government, and will fast people for 30 days, 60 days, nothing but water, and then see what happens. So very long-term fasting. He actually said that if you're struggling with intermittent fasting day to day, he said take a 7-day period, so Sunday through Monday, and choose 2 of those days. It doesn't have to be 2 days in a row. Just choose 2 days where you do nothing except water. So maybe Monday nothing but water, and maybe Thursday nothing but water. And otherwise, just stick to a healthy diet. He has found that's called a 5-2. Again, I don't mean to throw these numbers at you, but that's another strategy that you can implement. Some people are studying, what if we just took 1 day a week where we just fasted and had water and otherwise ate, healthy meals. So again, I would say that, you said, if I want to go all in, I would return to what I said earlier. I would say stick to that 11 to 7 eating pattern, break your fast or have your break fast with the Epic 5 green smoothie. Again, that is green vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, berries, and then acids. And certainly if you wanted to play around and add some collagen protein or some pure pea protein from Designs for Health, very specifically the lectin-free pea protein. If you wanted to add in an avocado or some MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides. I was thinking autoimmunity in my head. Sorry, guys. You could add that in and have a full meal. But again, you could break your fast with a liquid meal like that Epic Green smoothie and get smart around that too. So Jody, I hope that answered your question for sure. And it was a really good question. It was very informed. And I think, again, for most people, those studies that I just threw out there, they are people eating from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then nothing but water otherwise. Or again, black coffee, black tea, herbal teas that have no calories. So I'm just going to bring this up because it's going to come up. What about 0-calorie drinks, right? What about, something sweetened with stevia? Of course, we're not going to have anything sweetened with sucralose, aspartame, anything like that, right? We're not going to have any of that stuff because it's an endocrine disruptors, and they are also neurological disruptors and immune system disruptors. I mean, the whole thing, just bad news bears there. But what about stevia? What about monk fruit? Can I put a little bit of that in my tea? I'm going to tell you probably. I don't think that research has been done, but my suspicion is you probably could do that. Although I would say, this intermittent fasting would be a great thing to do along with committing to just drinking water during the 21-day program that you're doing right now. So again, lots of variations here, and there's no way I can cover all of it. Guys, that was exactly 32 minutes. Actually, it was 33 minutes. And I have to jump off this call and actually get on another call. What I'm excited about with my next call is that I'm calling an Amish patient of mine, which has a whole host of questions that come up with it. He's borrowing a phone, and we're going to discuss his labs because typically I meet with people over the internet just like this. And of course, he doesn't have internet. So I'm foraging into Amish territory today, so wish me luck. But guys, thank you for joining us all through the week. We're going to be covering the detox pathway. So tomorrow, my goal is tomorrow to chat about the basics of the detox pathway. What the heck is detoxification? What the heck is biotransformation? And I'll probably cover that for a couple days. And if we have time this week, I'll get into some advanced detoxification techniques, including things like dry brushing and saunas and stuff like that. So I'll make sure, again, same time, same channel tomorrow. Hopefully no technical problems. I need to look at the way the Zoom links were set up. But otherwise, it's going to be on Zoom tomorrow. But otherwise, I'll see you here on Facebook Live. I love you guys. Have a great Tuesday. Be happy, be healthy, and I'll chat with you soon. Bye-bye.